finally have some really good news to share with you, and I'm sorry to say it's not that I'm getting married. But as exciting as that would be, it actually pales in comparison to what I want to share with you today. Let me explain. During the 1980s, I was involved full-time in a ministry called Campus Crusade for Christ. It was a rich and rewarding time for me, mostly because I was able to participate in about 100 people actually coming to faith in Christ, and as well as helping them develop and become people of character. But there was also a problem. And Campus Crusade and other ministries began to notice a trend, a downward trend in terms of the size of the number of students who were involved in our ministries, as well as the number of people interested in serving in a full-time capacity. Flash forward, and it's now 2009, and I'm reading this book, No Perfect People Allowed. No Perfect People Allowed is about the current state of our spiritual decline and what we can do about it. Here's a couple excerpts from the book.
All the diagnostic experts keep pointing backward to the era of the 60s and the 70s as the fatal hour when everything started going to hell.
As I interact with people in a counseling situation, most born post-1960, I find myself asking, what happened to this generation to produce so much chaos? I hear story after story.
But there was nothing
of neglect,
free about the postmodern
abuse,
experiment.
Sexual
It came with a
molestation,
huge balloon
drug
payment of broken lives for coming generations.
The book goes on to discuss church attendance, which is a broad indicator of spiritual life. And it says that today in Europe is about 4% church attendance. So it's basically dead. Canada has about a 7% church attendance, pretty much the same. And right now in the U.S. we're sitting at about a 30 to 40% church attendance, and declining by about 1% each year since 1991. As I'm listening to this information and thinking back to the 1980s, I had a stunning revelation. If these trends continue, our nation will be as spiritually dead as Europe. I'm not saying that I heard an audible voice from God or that I happen to know the future, but what I am saying is this. We have a 30-year track record of trends. And apart from some supernatural work of God, you and I will witness the end of American Christianity in our lifetime. Thankfully in the past we've had a move of God's Spirit, almost miraculously, over large numbers of people, seemingly in a mysterious way. So I had this thought one day, what if this time you and I are the supernatural work of God? It's not a mystery, it's you and I. That's the day I made a career-changing direction. And I decided that for the rest of my life, I'd like to do whatever I can, for as long as I have left here on this earth, reversing this trend. Since then, I've been looking for answers and investigating the leading organizations of our time. There are actually a handful of churches from all different denominations across the country, innovative churches, that seem to be actually reversing this trend. One of those churches is right here in Austin, Texas. In a town where only 15% of the population attend church, Gateway has successfully created a come-as-you-are culture. A significant number have no prior faith experience at all.
I thought Christianity was sort of a joke. I considered myself to be feminist and proud of it, and from what I understood about Christianity, those things didn't mix.
It said, come as you are and no perfect people allowed. And that's what I always wanted. I wanted to just come as I was, and that's what I found true. You know, I was a little skeptical maybe a moment when I read it, but it was proven true immediately.
So here's the big news. A few days ago, I was formally accepted into Gateway's internship program, which is specifically designed to greatly accelerate efforts to reverse these trends. Participation in the internship program will require about a 30-hour per week commitment over the next 10 months, and I'll need to replace about $25,000 in income otherwise secured through employment. It's going to be a really intense year, but I couldn't be more excited about it. So that's the big news. We're in deep, deep, deep weeds. But there's still a chance to turn this thing around. And to be honest with you, I was hoping you might want to help. If you'd like to talk more, simply click on the link "I'd like to help" so we can connect personally. Thanks again. Return to